Theme of the week been, Loz?
I think the theme at the moment is just look after our process, and that's been the message since seriously day one of pre-season, and it's nice to see part of our process is coming together and resulting in some good outcomes in wins. But we do feel the measure of our season this year has been about our progress as a team, and the wins and losses are starting to fall our way, but the progress and the growth we show as a team is most important, and we've still got a bit to go.
Is it about what you thought, not just wins and losses, but what you're actually seeing on a week-to-week basis? Is it about what you thought you would be producing coming into the season?
Oh, I honestly think there's still growth in this team. I'm most pleased with the maturity we've been able to show, particularly when our backs are against the wall. So we've had some slow starts, not necessarily last week against Collingwood, but particularly 3 or 4 games prior to that. We were quite slow off the blocks in that first quarter, and in some games in the second quarter as well. So to be able to show a level of resilience and ability to come back with the fitness that our group's found and worked hard for, that's probably the most pleasing sign in our group so far this year.
Do you think as well, part of that resilience, you touched on being back to the wall, but having Lauren Young out for the whole year obviously was so highly rated, and then Janelle going down early, and the fact that you've then still managed to grow since then and gone such a run without them, is that part of the resilience too? Yeah,
certainly having 4 players rehabbing at the moment rehabbing ACLs is big, and to have the quality of Lauren Young, Indy Tahoe, Janelle Cuthbertson, and obviously Georgie Jakes is another who has been on our list for a couple of years now. It is a sign of growth, and it's a sign of excitement for the future too. And once that crew's back, we'd like to think we're stronger.
In saying that, how high is the confidence now at the moment when you go 3 in a row and look at the ladder and you've only got 3 games left? How high is the confidence in this group?
I think the confidence in the group's been building since the first pre-season game. And again, just going back to process is the most important thing for us. And we did speak to our group in the pre-season about measuring some of our growth with wins and losses this year. But again, it comes down to the growth we see, particularly in the KPIs and how we come together as a team. And I think all of our supporters and our members will see big growth in that aspect across every game that we've played.
In terms of expectations and dealing with that, given that the position you're in is a little bit different to where you've been in the past, how do you take that on moving forward with such a young group? I
think the absolute focus again just has to be each game, and certainly playing St Kilda here at Alberton tomorrow night. They're above us on the ladder. They've got some very talented players, and they've shown the ability to play some pretty good footy this year. So our absolute focus is on Friday night at Alberton.
Does the F word get mentioned though at all?
Honestly, I think it's nice to hear media asking about finals, because it means we do have some growth, and certainly not a privileged conversation we've been able to get ourselves into in our first 2 seasons. So to have the F word mentioned is, I think it's just a sign of our growth at the moment, but we've got a lot of work to do.
What about internally though?
No, like I said, right now our focus is Friday night at Alberton against St Kilda.
What do you make of St Kilda?
Yeah, like I said, they've got some really talented players. I played a bit of footy with Jessie Wardlaw in Brisbane, and she's such a young forward, such an exciting player and forward in our competition. And I'm looking forward to Emily Borg matching up against her tomorrow night. I think that's a really exciting matchup where Borgie did a really good job on her last year, and I think the 2 midfield battles are big too. So yeah, I'm very excited for tomorrow night.
In terms of
how needed is this sort of 8-day break being after that run of games and a run of games where you obviously performed very well in each of them?
Yeah, I think having a longer break now, it's almost like you still don't know what day it is, because we were so used to just spinning into game, and now that we're back into kind of the regularity of a normal week. So I think you'd expect every team to have a level of soreness coming out of the congested fixture, and we certainly did. And so to be able to freshen up is probably the best part of that for us.
Julie Teakle won't play this week. Is her season over? Is there hope that she could play again if you are to make finals?
Yeah, Tex has obviously come out of the Collingwood game with a knee injury, and we're hopeful she can return at the end of the year. That's best case scenario at the moment.
How much of a spin-off from the increased fitness has your increased pressure been this year?
Yeah, the pressure factor's big for us. It's definitely a measure we take very seriously in our group. And to be really honest, last year we reflected on our season and we were 17th in the comp for pressure factor, and it was something we were severely disappointed in. And so now I believe we're second in the comp for pressure factor, and prior to going to second behind North Melbourne, we were first. So, we're really pleased that we're top 2 in the comp for pressure factor, and I think hearing other coaches and teams talk about the fact that we are a contest team and we do apply a lot of pressure is another sign of growth, because it's been something we've worked really hard on over the last 12 months.
How much of that is mindset versus fitness?
I think fitness is massive. The way pressure's measured, you actually have to be pretty fit to be able to apply it. So certainly we've looked into champion data and how they measure the pressure factor, and a lot of it is physicality versus chase and ability to apply physicality or not. And yeah, no doubt in this competition now, 9th season, you've got to be pretty fit to be able to apply physical pressure across the game.
Been a lot of...
I think gritty was the word you used to describe the win of Collingwood, but you did say that you wanted to sort of open the game back up. How do you go about doing that against the side? We saw St Kilda when they played the Crows here a few weeks ago, that they can be pretty strong side.
Yeah, Saints are a team we absolutely respect, and we know we've got to be at our best to beat them at Alberton on Friday night. But yeah, I think the Collingwood game was not a game of footy that I guess it was very congested, and Collingwood threw a lot of numbers into our forward line at different parts of the game, and I've been very open in my first 2.5 years here as coach of Port Adelaide that it's important that we develop an offensive brand of footy that our players enjoy playing, sets us up to win games against the best teams. You've got to be able to put score on the board to win games. You talk about the F word. I think if you're going to win finals, you've got to be able to score. And so, I'm balancing as a senior coach the ability to win games versus looking after the brand and the product and developing our league and making our games something that people want to watch and our players want to play. So, yeah, certainly looking to continue to open up the game and build on our offence, while we're very proud of the defence, the contest growth that we've been able to make this year.
Just on that, there's been a lot of people, including several ex-coaches, I guess, weigh in on where the competition's at the moment. You've seen it from both sides. You've been, in terms of player, coach, you've been in it from the start. What's your take on where things sit at the moment?
I think we've got an absolute responsibility to balance the need for wins, particularly as a team that came in only 2.5 years ago. And it's something I've been so mindful of is, when I was a player, my absolute favourite part of the game was the physicality and the scoring. And certainly as a fan prior to that, that's been the case for me. And so to bring that for my group and for our people and our fans and our footy club, I'd like to think that that's front of mind for all senior coaches in our competition.
What about the timing of the fixture and the condensed fixture? Have you got a view on that?
To be honest, I've said for a little while now, I'm pleased if we get an early fixture so we can plan for it. I'll leave that up to the powers that be, which part of the calendar it sits in. I think we're pretty close to where it should be. If it means that we end up slightly earlier in the year for round 1, then it means we can expand and play more games at an appropriate time of the year, and I'd be pretty pleased with that.
Oh, I was just going to ask about Matilda.
Cool.
Her Rising Star was like a few days ago now. Second Rising Star nomination on Monday. How proud of you to see her growth and her, now being one of 3 Port Adelaide players of 7 to have been nominated this year? Certainly
3 out of 7 Rising Stars. Obviously it's an indication of the talent we have on the list, but also their development and growth throughout has been really exciting. And for Matilda to have a double Rising Star nomination now this year and to take the mark that she did, there's a lot behind that. Her teammates helped her out in that instance, and for Matilda, I know she said this to the media during the week, but she's been putting an awful lot of time in, particularly since round 1 in her contested marking, and so I think it's just a small taste of what she's capable of, to be fair, and hopefully that builds on her confidence to bring more of that into the future.
One last one on Ebony O'Day ahead of her 50th. Yeah, it's one of my absolute favourites for the way she attacks the ball, but for someone who's been to 3 clubs now and shown a lot of resilience over her time, it's a pretty big milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so nice for Ebs to play her 50th. I think, heart and soul Port Adelaide player, and the way she goes about it, I think every Port Adelaide person would enjoy watching her play. And what I love about Ebs is she's absolute team first. And, something behind the scenes in our group is the players have been asking for an environment which demands more of them and, hit them between the eyes a little bit more than perhaps what's been in the past. And many players can ask for that, and not all players deal with it as well as they would like. And so Ebbs is someone who you know, tell me how it is and give it to me straight, and just is so open to feedback. And you can see that in the growth of her game, particularly this year. She's been exceptional in her defensive work, and I think her offence is far more reliable than, you know, what we've seen in the past. And so proud of her, and I know her teammates absolutely love her because she's team first.